And we are into game number 1 of Twisted Fusion versus No Keyboard or Neon Knights or whatever they're supposed to be called, the team that has sort of taken over Team SR's position in the rankings. This is a loser bracket round 2 match, as both of these teams were knocked down. Twisted Fusion was knocked down in the round of 16 by BMG, so that's not that surprising that they lost that series. And NK was knocked down in the round of 8 by Team Excellent, who had a pretty good showing this cycle, actually. So um, that's where both of these teams stand, and obviously there's some favoritism going on the side of Legion because they have some recognizable names compared to Twisted Fusion, who is one of those teams that bounces back between Gold and Diamond. Of course, they were in the 16th position here, of course, going up in the first round against BMG. But they did manage to, they didn't actually win because they got a bye in the first round of the losers bracket. So they lost to BMG 2-0, and then they took the bye in the first round of the losers bracket to come into this match in the second round of the losers bracket against Team NK, which is what I'll call them because I'm not sure exactly what they want that to stand for. Going the main stage real fast, Grinix, Cersei, Tundra, and Ophelia. So Oph, not a surprising ban. She's usually considered one of the strongest junglers. Grinix and Tundra from Tankafet. Grinix seems to be popular just because everybody hates playing against him, and Cersei, of course, one of the more powerful supports, just introduced, and she's not quite sure where she fits yet. We've seen her a couple of times to varying degrees of effectiveness. Last game I saw her in, I don't remember exactly who played her, but it wasn't a particularly effective Cersei. It was against that Suicide Chronos. So, shoot, I don't even remember. Um, but if you're going to dig through all the replays I've got, it's up there on YouTube, so good luck. So now it's a super surprising band coming out there. Into the picks on the Legion side, Pestilence, Keeper of the Forest, and Rhapsody. So that Keeper-Rhapsody combination, of course, excellent push. Very, very strong. That Dance Lord just does a fantastic job of keeping up the Keeper minions. Pesty first pick, also not very surprising. He's often considered first pick material, considered by some to be the best carry, the best hero in the game because he's got some carry potential. He's a great initiator. Those bugs do so much, the negative armor and the division that they give. Of course, Flight's great for getting in and out of fights, on top of a portal key, which you inevitably get with Pestilence. So just a really strong hero, really strong in that mid lane, and that's pretty definitely where he's going to end up. Bubbles is their next pick, and that's certainly going to be a suicide with Keeper in the jungle. Of course, Raptor's going to be a support. So really predictable lanes here coming out of the Legion side, but they've got a bunch of strong heroes that work pretty well together. Of course, Bubbles keeping everybody in place with that Keeper ultimate. Rhapsody is going to be able to save people relatively easily, and just a lot of team fight potential here, but some pretty decent gank as well with Pesty and Bubbles, and Rhapsody to some extent. The Staccato Suns can be very annoying. Over here on the Hellborn side, Slither, Aluna, Pharaoh, and Sandwraith. So right now, that looks like a support Slither. Might not be. Of course, they could still pick up a second support. All the junglers are banned out, or picked up in the case of Cupid Forest. So they're going to pretty much be running a dual support lineup. They have the opportunity to suicide this Pharaoh, and I sort of expect that's what they're going to do. I don't really like that decision. There are some other suicide options that might be a little bit better here, namely Kraken, possibly even a Corrupted Disciple, who knows. Jonas fans run that before, it's a little sketchy, but who knows. Could work out. Still have Scout, still have Wretched Hag. They had the Bubbles option for a while. They could have picked that up. So I think Pharaoh's a solid support, or a suicide hero, but you really want him when there's something for him to interrupt, and I don't think that the Rhapsody ultimate is enough. He does really well against Tempest. He does well against heroes like Soulstealer. I'm not sure there's anybody over here on the Legion side that really is a threat that Pharaoh can do a lot to handle. And as a suicide goes, I don't think he's in that top tier of the best suicide options. So he's a solid suicide, and he's certainly not something that makes no sense, but it's a little questionable there. Aluna Sandwraith, Thunderbringer, so that's probably going to be a support, so there could also be a support TB. I don't think we've actually seen that, but the theory is certainly there. Gemini gets picked up for the last pick on the Legion side, so that's going to be Gemini, Rhapsody. No, it's going to be Gemini solo, short lane with Rhapsody, Pestilence, middle, Keeper of the Forest, jungle, and Bubble Suicide. So really obvious lanes here coming out from NK, but certainly extremely powerful. There's a lot of kill potential in that mid lane. Gemini shouldn't be in any real danger of dying, especially if that Pharaoh is Suicide bot, and that's actually going to help Pharaoh out a lot because he might actually get some farm. And I'd expect this to be an Aluna Sandwraith top with Slither and TB middle, and actually Slither TB has quite a lot of kill potential itself. TB, of course, plenty of harass and just burst damage in general, as he is just a fat tank. Crap. I was hoping they wouldn't do that because now I have to do this. So sorry about that, but at least it skips us through the pause. So keeper headed top, I think, to maybe do some pulling, or maybe he's just going to go straight into the jungle. He is going to end up in the jungle, so I don't know whether it's going to be immediate or if he's going to try to help Bubbles get some lane control. But over here on the Legion side, it looks like this might actually be a Slither Sandwraith top, which would be very strange in my opinion. Slither doesn't have any support items, so, although neither does TB. So I don't know if they're just going to be sharing farm in the middle lane. He's certainly not going to be taking any farm away from the Sandwraith. But maybe he won't be playing a support role after all. TB, of course, with 5 Miter Totems and 338 gold saved up, so that's definitely be an early bottle for him. And I expect him to be getting farm. Slither's got a bunch of regen though, so I don't know if they're just trying to be particularly aggressive on this Bubbles. Not a bad idea, especially considering the toxicity debuff will help keep him low and help keep him forced out of lane. And then of course all this regen will allow Slither to harass a ton. But I really do hope this in the Slither middle, because I feel like they have quite a bit of kill potential between Slither and TB, and Slither's sort of going to be wasted. Aluna's got some of the same. We've seen it in the Luna TB lane run before, possibly even by Twisted Fusion. I don't remember who ran it. And it actually did quite well. Got a lot of kills, so, not a lot of kills, but it got a few kills. So I wonder if that's what they're going for again here. It very possibly could have been them that ran it. And once again, we see this early game spell early spell use coming out from Thunderbringer, and I understand the point of that. Harass them early. There's the power throw as well, as Rapti's taking quite a bit of damage. On the other hand, this level 1 TB Chain Lightning does 85 magic damage, and it costs 65 mana. If you upgrade it, it does a lot more damage for relatively less mana, obviously, as it gets to higher levels, So the mana cost increases, but it's going to end up doing more damage. So now TB's going to blow his entire mana pool right here. So he is going to have a bottle now, and that's going to be less of a problem. Of course, they did bring some clarity pots for Luna, or just one in fact. So here comes a bottle out from TB, so he's going to be able to get all his mana back, and that's nice, but I might have waited till level 2 or so, maybe in level 3 to spend all my mana, because now you could pretty much do it in the time the bottle gets here, and you do quite a bit more damage, actually. Meanwhile, up on top, actually Gemini is playing the Suicide, so that's weird. I don't really like that decision, just because he can get harassed out here by Slither. And he probably won't die thanks to that Twin Fangs, but then of course if they follow it up with the Desert's Curse, he could. He's not the tankiest hero early on, and he doesn't have escape mechanism, which is nice, but with the melee against the ranged Slither here, who has that toxicity and the poison spray, he needs to be in some serious safe plays, because otherwise he could end up dying, and obviously don't want that. Meanwhile, on bottom, Pharaoh and Bubbles are going to go at it, so it's a slightly less ideal matchup for Pharaoh, but he should still be relatively okay here. Bubbles can do some stuff to him, but as long as he plays relatively safe, he won't be able to kill him, even with that Shell Surf coming in. Once Bubbles' magic damage is hit, he doesn't do too much in the auto attack range. Meanwhile, Sandwraith is going up on this Gemini, trying to harass him out of lane, and taking quite a bit of damage to do so. And Slither is pulling to get their creep wave back in here. Meanwhile, in the middle, Pesty has been more or less forced out. TB is once again out of mana. He does have that bottle up, though. It is empty right now, and the 2-minute rune has spawned, and they've already gotten it. So, they've clearly spent pretty much all of their time interested in harassing this this Pestilence and the Rhapsody out of lane. So, TB's farm is actually doing pretty well at 250 gold per minute. That's still down there at 136, but they are getting some levels. And here than actually getting a kill. So there's Dance Floor going down to do a lot to prevent TVs from magic damage from really being the most effective thing in the world. So Aluna Illusion's going to go ahead and put some harassment on as HoN gets lane control now a little bit in the top and in the bottom lane with Pharaoh taking a health bot there, Sniper Creep go with Hatchet. As once again Gemini is going to be found out by the Slither and just forced out of lane. So at least if you put the bubbles up here, you know, he could trade auto attacks with Slither, and if Slither gets too low, bubbles can finish him off with Shell Surf and Song of the Sea combo. So in that sense, Slither has to be a little careful about what he does. In this situation, he doesn't really. He can basically just chase this Gemini down past under his tower. So I really don't understand the lane decision really here from the NK. They do have a gold deficit and a slight experience lead, so everything's relatively even at this point. Of course, the other problem is you'd rather get Gemini some free farm, as he is getting jumped a little bit here in the bottom top lane. You know, Gemini's sitting at 120 gold per minute here, and he doesn't farm that fast, so getting him a good start is really important. Because if you do that, he can snowball like crazy, and even if you don't do that, he can turn into a great, awesome carry. I mean, he's just really probably the best melee carry in the game right now, even over Sandray. As Raps is going to take quite a lot of damage and needs to be real careful here. Dance Floor goes down once again, but he's going to stand there. There's yep. So Tank Effet choosing to put the Dance Floor down there probably should have put it off into the woods so he wasn't visible by that Thunderbringer. Meanwhile, on bot, Bubbles is actually going to finish up Pharaoh. As he puts the Kelp Field down, walls go up, but not enough. Shell Surf finishes him off. So, over here in middle lane, Pesty's now having to stay under the tower as he fears TV's lightning. So, once again, this Aluna TV lane is actually working out fairly well for the Hellborn side. As Pesty has been pretty much shut out of farm, and now they did also manage to get the first blood into Rhapsody, who has decided to go top and open up on the Slither. There's Scott of Stuns, and he's going to be in some trouble. Poison Spray is going to come out onto Rhapsody. Slither does fall, but let's see if they can get a kill onto Rap. Actually, they can't, and now Sandray needs to be really careful. Nope, there he goes. Can he get around this cliff? Yeah, he can. So, just enough. Oh, Twin Fang's going to come out. Not going to be enough to stun, but there comes the breath. There it is. So, nice breath there from Gemini. Just barely managing to get that kill on the Sandwraith, and a 2-for-1 there for Team NK. Pretty substantial kills there, not just because it gets Gemini something, but because it shuts down that Sandwraith, who was the top farmer in the game for a bit. He's now down to 300 gold per minute. Bubbles, meanwhile, back at base, and Pharaoh's using that opportunity to snipe some farm down here. So he's up to 240 gold per minute. So as a suicide, he's actually out-farming that Gemini, which is sort of a problem. Bubbles is the top farmer on the Legion side with 340 gold per minute. So he's doing a little better than that Sandwraith, but of course he's not taking a death, and he has gotten a kill. Dance Floor goes down once again, as it still seems like Aluna by herself is able to do whatever she wants. Level 6 Pharaoh with a DD Ruin is going to look for a snipe here. Or a hook, I mean. As TV comes in, there's the hook onto Pestilence, there's the Money Walls, and Pesty's going to go down. Nope, quite activated. Sandwraith comes in on top of the Rhapsody. Money Walls go down, not catching him, but that's going to be plenty. Gemini comes in here, looking for a kill on Pharaoh, but the Twin Fangs is going to miss. Root going to come out with the Keeper at some point. There's a Root on the Sandwraith. Are we going to see the stun? We're not. And Sandwraith is going to die. TV's out of mana. Bubbles is coming in to the side. There's got a Kelp Field, and we'll drop on the Thunderbringer. He'll die with the Song at Sea, and the... God, there it is. Aluna's going to take... I don't think he actually took the Twin Fang stun, but he took enough damage there to die. So, good cleanup there at the end by Legion. They did lose Rhapsody and Pestilence, but they managed to take 3 heroes from the Hellborn side. Once again, including that Sandwraith, who needs to stop dying because he needs to farm. Just like Gemini, you know, needs to have a good start, so does Sandwraith. She doesn't snowball particularly well. It's okay, you know. If you get a really good start, she'll do well, but she needs to that early game to get some farm items up and to be able to start taking a whole bunch of creep camps relatively quickly so that she can, she, whatever. So again, I'm used to the Dota being a Spectre. So Gemini doing the appropriate thing here, splitting up and putting that Ice Dog up top to leech some experience, and possibly even a couple of creep kills while the Fire Dog is back at base buying items, and he will recombine there. Over here in middle, we got Staccato Stuns onto Thunderbringer. That's the illusion there, so that's not in too much trouble. As the Pharaoh Rocket comes in, gonna hit just the Pestilence. Meanwhile, on bot, TB picks up the rune and puts a Thunderbolt onto Bubbles. Lightning Bolt, what's it called? Yeah. Dance Floor goes down once again for Rhapsody, but also mostly for a Pestilence. As it looks like Gemini is setting up a flank over here, trying to get a pick off onto one or both of these heroes, and flank gets activated so they know something's up. Somebody's timed out, so pause here, and we'll just go straight through it because nobody cares. The beauty of replay casting. Pharaoh Rocket gonna come out, do some harassment. Luna's gonna stick back here. TB decided to go all the way back to base and get his mana back. Of course, he has used those spells quite heavily. And so is Rhapsody, for that matter, just spamming that Dance Floor, keeping Pestilence at full health, but really preventing him from being able to take CS as he's still at 141 gold per minute. Just 20 and 7 CS compared to 32 and 6 Thunderbringer, 52 and 17 Sandray, 30 and 2 Pharaoh, so he's not doing very well at all. Even Slither's getting up close to him, and that's a support Slither. Meanwhile, on bot, Thunderbringer's ultimate, I believe, will take out. There's a hook onto Bubbles and the TB ult. So, I'm not sure if the TB ult was necessary there. He had the Lightning Bolt coming back up in a second, but choosing to do what he could to make sure Zibby died there. Not a terrible decision. Just guaranteeing that kill. Up top, it is the similar situation of Gemini versus Sandwraith, as both of these heroes have pretty much chosen not to leave their lanes. Sandwraith is still winning the CS battle pretty handily, 56 and 17 compared to 21 and 2 Gemini. Of course, a lot of that is from the early game when Sandwraith had pretty much free farm and Gemini was getting mostly boxed out of the lane. Pharaoh's going to find Keep with the Forest here in the jungle, but neither of them is interested in engaging on the other. Of course, Pharaoh doesn't have that much mana, so not much to be able to be done there. Bubbles is coming in. You're going to set up on Keeper, or the TB. There's a Kelphiel coming out on top of the Staccato Stuns and the Impale, and TB's going to die here. Sandwraith ultimate coming in here on top of the Poison Spray. Going to hit too. There's a Poison Burst as well. Power Throw hits a bunch. Rhapsody's going to be in the back. We're looking for an Astrolabe. Actually, that heal's going to do a lot. Zibbe's going to fall on the other hand. Poison Spray comes out, and Slither dies.
Hot streak.
And there's a Luna as well. So, not Poison Spray, though. Gemini comes out. And this is going to turn into a mid-tower push for the Legion side. So, good initiation from them to pick up that TB. Good response from Hellborn, but a better than counter response to that from the Legion side. That Rhapsody Astrolabe, or somebody that Astrolabe, is it Tibby? No, it's Keeper, excuse me. I was like, wow, Rhapsody has an Astrolabe already? That was fast, but no, it is in fact Keeper with the Astro. That did a lot of work there. A bunch of heroes probably would have died, and definitely would have died sooner if he hadn't had that heal. What, 600 heal, something like that? 200 heal. I think 600. And recipe costs is 600, that's probably why. Meanwhile, Legion side's sort of grouping up here. Hook in onto the Ancients, but the Mummy Walls are not going to catch Rhapsody. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. But there's a double damage rune up here at some point. No, not going to do anything about it. Instead, they're just going to try to steal these Ancients. Picking off that Dragon Master, so good from that. But Keeper's going to bring the dogs back in, try to pick off these Dragonlings. And he will in fact get a kill there, and not one there as TB uses Lightning Bolt to finish off that last Ancient. So Wrath of Pharaoh is down. That's a bit of a relief up here, I think, for Gemini, as he can be assured he's not going to be eating that spell. As it looks like Hellborn's interested in trying to get a pick off onto him. And TB's going to be here from the side with a double damage rune. Where's the Poison Spray? There it is. He's going to be able to twin things away. And Energize, is he going to be able to take the stun? No. And he's got just enough move speed to get out of there. Dance War goes down once again.
The Legion have destroyed.
Meanwhile, on bot, Zibby managed to solo push the bot tower, so clearly he's done some stuff to get that tower low and then eventually finish it off, and then allow him to pick up a portal key on top of the Steam Boots. Gemini sitting on the Steam Boots Energizer bottle, so actually pretty solid farm for him, and he's at 325 gold per minute, especially considering how badly he started. He's actually over the Sand Wraith now. He's at 300 GPM. Of course, 2-0 and 6, extremely helpful in that compared to the 1-3 and 2 Sand Wraith. Keeper of the Forest sitting on regular boots, Ring of the Teacher, Ring of Sorcery, and Astrolabe, so a lot of team support items there. Pretty typical stuff for a keeper that is in the jungle. Pestilence, on the other hand, not doing particularly well, still 196 gold per minute. He is at 27 and 8 CS. He's finally gotten some opportunity to farm in this mid lane. But he's just not really been a factor. He's just sitting on not even Steam Boots quite yet with Apprentice Robe and regular boots on top of a power supply bottle. So he's got plenty of regen, but not a lot in the way of actual damaging items or anything. On the Hellborn side, Thunderbringer has picked up his power supply, his bottle, his Ghost Marchers, and his Mystic Vestments. So solid there. I think there's definitely enough magic damage on the Legion side to warrant that. Meanwhile, Keeper's Nature's Veil comes in, and they're looking for a kill on the Slither here. Poison Burst goes off, but this is still going to be dead Slither as... Oh, maybe not as the... Actually, the walls catch everybody on top of the power throw. They deny Les QQ, so he's going to be able to really not get anything done to him. I'm not even sure how he did that, considering the just giant cluster of things that was in there. But good response to the Hellborn side as Slither gets initiated on using the Pharaoh ultimate and the TB ultimate. In middle, Bubbles actually manages to pick off this Slither, then use the Shell Surf to get away. So nice initiation there, assuming he used the portal key to get in, put the Kelp Peel down, and then ran away with the Shell Surf. So nice pick there from Les QQ, as it looks like we might push this bot tower. Gemini's down here. He has a regen rune active, but not going to choose to go in. Oh, there's the Energizer, and now TB's in some trouble. No, he's going to decide to back up, so certainly a good decision there. Sandwraith is in some trouble, as Pesty's chasing him down with the Flight active. Does not have a portal key, of course, and Sandwraith should be okay here. Puts the bugs up just to make sure they have vision of him, and so he's going to have to be a little careful now as Tankovit on this Rhapsody is making his way to the side, possibly looking for a flank. So is Gemini for that matter, but that Rocket might have scouted him. So Sandwraith's going to need some support here as 3 heroes from Legion's side have grouped up, trying to take him out. And Pharaoh Rocket will definitely scout that. And they're just going to choose to back up. Energizer gets popped by Gemini. Pharaoh ultimate is up, so he can choose to initiate if he wants to, but will be content with just scaring them off, it looks like, and allowing Sandwraith to regain control of that lane and take some more farm. So there, meanwhile, is clearly playing that second support role. I'm not actually sure if he's playing support. I'm not sure if I've seen him drop any words yet, but let's see. No, it doesn't look like it. That doesn't mean he hasn't done A, of course. It just means I don't see him on the map right now. So meanwhile, it looks like we're looking for initiation up top. My Mo's go up on top of that Pestilence, and the root comes out at the end. TB ultimate is up, but Illumina and Pharaoh are going to die. And Sandwraith's in some trouble now. He goes. Pharaoh manages to... Actually, he bought out. So there's a hook right back onto Rhapsody, in fact, but he takes the Staccato Stuns, and that's not going to be enough. So he dies. So he buys back and dies immediately. Tankovit does eventually get taken out, but Sandwraith is also here. He also buys back. So 2 buybacks used here on the Hellborn team. TB's going to take the Impale and the O'Shaughnessy, but he's going to die before that actually goes off. Sandwraith's now in some trouble, as he's getting blocked out of the jungle by Keeper. So good play there, and now he's going to put the bugs on him. He's going to use a Desert Storm to try to get away as Staccato Stuns come out here. His Tankovit also buys out, and that's going to be another kill. So I believe the Legion side ended up with 7 kills there.
The Legion have destroyed
As 2 buyouts were used. I think Slither went down. Yes. So I believe they ended up with 7 kills in that engagement. because 2 biots were used on heroes that ported in and then died. And in the meantime, they lost Tankafet on that Rhapsody, but he bought out as well and manages to help clean up that kill onto Sandwraith again. So some pushing coming out here from the Legion side, but not nearly enough to take that secondary tower, as the Limit Power Throw helps weaken the lane. And Hellborn is able to defend that second tier tower. They haven't done too much group up and push here on the Legion side. A little concerning. Up here on top, it looks like TV is going to get caught. There goes the Wrath of the Pharaoh, of course. Thunderbringer has True Vision thanks to that Blast of Lightning, and they're going to put a Rhapsody ultimate down. That's going to save Keeper for a while, but not long enough. And now Rhapsody's in trouble as the Hellfire is going off, along with Desert Cross, and then he's dead as well. So double tap coming out for Pharaoh. As all 5 heroes in the Hellborn team took them really way too long to kill those 2 heroes, and that's because they're down now 13k gold and 14k experience. And that's even after they get those picks off. They were down closer to 17k earlier. Really? It's a 5k gold now. Should have been up here on top. Meanwhile, Bubble's going to find 2. Kelpfield stuns get taken by both. Spray coming out of the Slither. He's going to die. TV's running away. Not going to be enough. As the last auto attack manages to finish him off. Desert's power goes off as Sandwraith runs into the trees. Shell Surf is going to try to scout him out, but won't find him. So Bubbles and Gemini are up here, interested in pushing the top tower. And I would expect them to back off here. The tower's really pretty high. They do have a Ballista, which is nice, but they don't have as much pushing power between these 2 heroes as, they would with Rhapsody and or Keeper. As Rhapsody cleans up some farm in the middle, Bubbles might have spotted that Aluna. Maybe not. So Aluna is going to be safe hiding in these trees. And she needs to not move. Oh, there goes the power throw, and now they might see her Sandwraith ultimate actually coming out. Who's he going to go on to? Nobody. It's alright. He is going to go down onto bottom, onto this Pestilence. As the Mummy Walls come out on top of the Hellfire, and that's going to prevent the Flight from doing much, so good kill down there. As Les QQ picks up an Illusion Rune and a Haste Rune. It's not quite as good as Haste DD, but still having some double rune power there. It's always fun. I think the max runes you can have at one time is 3, because if you pick up like the 2-minute rune in a bottle and then use it right before it expires the 4-minute mark, and then pick up a different rune at the 4-minute mark, I think, runes only last a minute or so, so I guess the most you can have active at a time is 2, something like that. I don't know. So Bubbles is going to be up here. Gonna see Pharaoh, but neither one choosing to initiate. Of course, Pharaoh does not have his hook right now, so won't be able to jump this Bubbles really, even if he wanted to. Pharaoh Rocket gonna come out and scout this Bubbles because he got Proroki out. Definitely a good decision there. His Pharaoh hook now is back up. Which still has the Shell Surf there, so he's going to get caught here, but Tablet right out of the Mummy Walls, and he's got a Haste Rune on top of the Rhapsody ultimate, going to do nothing there, but now Rap's in some trouble. Kelpfield goes out, try to prevent them from chasing, and the Power Throw's going to miss from Aluna. Shell Surf comes in on top of the Portal Key Root from Keeper, and that's going to be the death of Slither, but Tankafet will fall. In the meantime, Mummy Walls come out, prevents the Keeper from chasing anybody, but there's a Hasted Bubbles here, who's probably looking for a pick onto this Thunderbringer at this point. He knows he's probably not going to die. Yep, there it is. But he needs to be real careful here. Thunderbringer ultimate, of course, is down. Aluna will take the Sun from the Twin Fangs. Now she's in trouble. See, Thunderbringer ultimate wasn't down, but he's going to use it, but it's not going to be enough to kill Bubbles. As he does it, the pick on Aluna, and then, of course, he dies as well. Or, Thunderbringer dies as well, excuse me. So, once again, expanding that golden experience lead here for Team NK up to 17k gold and 21k experience. They are in a substantially advantageous position, of course, with And you just see over here, you know, the GPM charts, they're massively ahead. It's sand rate at 245 gold per minute, so started out pretty well, and since then has just been shut down. Keepers at nearly 500, so excellent farm here from him. And Gemini is, of course, massively recovered, 435 gold per minute, so good play there from Haxorn. Managing to take really a bad situation at the beginning as a suicide and come back from it. Pestilence doesn't have a portal key still, so I wonder if he's even going to go for that at this point. You know, he might actually have it. It might be the courier here. Yes, it is. Okay. It's like he doesn't have nearly enough gold for somebody that's just sitting on that much and has 265 GPM, 23 instance gold in this game. He's going to have something on the courier. And indeed he did, so now he does have that portal key. That's 3 PKs on the Cellborn, Legion side, excuse me, plus Twin Fangs, which is pretty good at getting you in and out of combat on that Gemini. So 4 heroes really that have ways to maneuver themselves. As it looks like we're gearing up for a mid-push here on the side of Legion. And there's the Energizer. Kelpfield's going to catch Slither, and that's going to be the death of him. He does put the Poison Burst out onto 3, so nice play there, but not be nearly enough. Pestilence jumps in with a portal key, puts the bugs onto Thunderbreaker on top of the Impel Stun. Thunderbreaker ultimate comes out, but there's the Scuttle Stuns and the Shell Serum, so he's dead. Mummy Wall's coming out from Pharaoh, but Rhapsody ultimate going to come out, preventing all the damage on the Pestilence. Gemini, meanwhile, jumps in, and he's going to be able to get the kill into Luna. Not quite. Zibby does. So Zibby's now going to run away as Gemini's putting a ton of stuns out on top of the Breath, and that's going to be the death of Sand Wraith. So Zibby's going to look for a Shell Surf Snipe. Not going to happen on the Pharaoh. He's really got too much health anyway. So Pharaoh is the only survivor of that engagement, as the Legion side loses only Rhapsody, who did a pretty good job there with her ultimate, saving Pestilence from taking a bunch of damage while inside those Pharaoh mummy walls. So there is back up, having gotten caught out relatively early, but of course those 2 heroes by themselves won't be able to do much of anything. This is going to be a mid-tower push. And it's going to be a dead mid-tower, despite this glyph. So that glyph's going to do nothing other than slow the Legion team down, and I don't think it would have gone for the base tower anyway, so that's a situation, I think, where the glyph is not well used. You know, there's something to be said for just using it whenever you can, because, hey, then it'll come back and you can use it again. On the other hand, that wasn't a tower that they were going to be able to defend, and if Legion side, hey, the glyph is down, now we can push a base tower that much easier. So, in this situation, I think when you're down by this much, save that glyph for a tower you're actually going to defend where you're going to need it, not in a situation when, you know, you're not going to defend a tower just because you don't have the manpower to do it. The tower is going to die because Legion knows that, so all it does is slow them down, which is fine, that's a good thing to do, but it's doesn't really accomplish anything at the end. So Pharaoh's going to try to do something here. He's level 11, so he has a level 2 hook, quite nice, because that cooldown is annoyingly long. Playing Pharaoh, you always want to play so active, and you can't without that hook. I love Staff for that reason. Zibbe over here is going to catch out this Slither with a Kelpfield, but he's going to eat the stun from Luna and from Pharaoh, and he's going to be in some trouble here. Puts the take cover down. Not going to be enough to get the portal key off, though, as Zibbe is playing a little too aggressive there, and he dies. Sandwraith interested in doing something with Keeper here, but Keeper's deciding just to PK out, grab a Refreshment Rune down here. As on bottom, Energizer goes off, and that's going to be a dead Thunderbreaker as he takes the Twin Fangs and his Staccato. Just way too much damage.
Champion of Newark.
So nice pick there for Haxorn and Rhapsody. As, to be honest, this game's pretty much over. I think Hellborn's just sticking it out of spite or something like that. I don't know, maybe not even that. Maybe they're just like, you know, might as well play it out, but this game's, they're done. And so there's now dead because there's the Twin Fangs. We're going to see Staccato, not even necessary. Staccato actually go onto a Luna, which might allow them to catch her. And there's a stun from the dog. Pharaoh rockets in, hits the mummy walls onto 3, but that includes both Gemini and Rhapsody. That's not a good trade. As Haxorn's going to have pretty close to an Immortal. I believe he's 3 kills away. Yes. So, yeah, 12-0 and 13. So if he gets 3 more kills, he'll grab the Immortal. As Thunderbringer's running up here for reasons that I don't understand, because if he probably could have died right there to the Twin Fangs. Especially because there's a portal key on Pestilence, and he's getting a jump. Oh, there's a Kelpfield, and there's TB Ultimate going up, not nearly enough. Twin Fangs goes out, and Gemini gets 13-0 and 13.
Massacre.
Poison Spray comes out onto, I believe, just Keeper, as then Slither catches the Impalement Stun on top of the Song of the Sea and the Twin Fangs. So one more for the Immortal for Axerin.
A Hellborn barracks has been destroyed.
Slandwraith ultimate coming out. I really hope he doesn't port into any of this because that's going to be instant death. That's good. Really coming out for, again, some reason, as Gemini is looking for that last kill for the Immortal. And not quite going to find it yet, so bot racks get cleaned up. Sandwraith is pushing top. And there's not going to be too much accomplished there. Impalement Sun coming out onto a Luna on top of the bugs, as they're just killing the buildings here on the Legion side. Might as well do whatever you want. Power Throw and Desert Scourge coming out on top of the Pharaoh Rocket. So Rhapsody is actually fairly low here. She will die. Pestilence gets caught by the Mummy Wall, and Gemini choosing to just peace and leave Pesty to die. So a bit of a good fight back there from the Hellborn side, but they're now down 30k in both Golden Experience. And they've lost bot racks. They're going up against Gemini with 564 gold per minute with a Sandwraith that has 284 GPM and a Pharaoh that's at 250. So suffice to say, things aren't looking so good. So there's now in a bit of trouble as Keeper is just going to initiate. Here's a Shell Surf, and that's going to catch him. He's dead. Desert Scourge is going to go off and not actually hit Bubbles. So they're over here trying to take a triple stack for some reason, and he's going to pay for that. Gemini picks up the Behemoth's Heart, and I believe finishes off the Dawnbringer as well. Yeah. So now he's tanky. I believe he's running at haste. 496. With the Energizer, he'll be running at haste. But I think that's really the problem with this hero, is the Elemental Force is a little too strong. You should not have 400. You should not have 500 base movement speed with Steam Boost and an Energizer and a Dawnbringer. Like, you're basically running at haste speed all the time. War Psycho's down here within a range of a Reward of Rev, though. Keeper Ultimate comes out, and that's going to hit 3. Gemini's going to be able to, nope, not pick up his Ultimate quite yet, but both Slither and TB are caught here. Sorry, Pharaoh and TB are caught here. Rhapsody Ultimate going to go out, preventing all the damage from Slither. There's the Immortal there from Gemini, as he manages to catch the Pharaoh off the background. So, 4 kills go down here, as Sandwraith is just running away. Don't kill me. The Legion team will be fine. We'll just take your mid-racks. As Haxrin is 15-0 and 15 leading this game in kills, deaths, and assists. So nice performance here from him. 600 gold per minute. There's G-Skis coming out, and that's the game. The Twisted Fusion showed fairly well in the early game. They did pretty well on the Suicide with Pharaoh. They did pretty well up on top, shutting down that Gemini for a while. They did very well in middle, shutting down the Pestilence Rhapsody lane, even getting a Bloodlust kill on the Tank Effect. But, you know, then you move out of the laning phase, and as we see, you know, NK, better team coordination, better resource control, able to get the Gemini that farm, able to get eventually some farm on Lesky if you get him up Roki, and he just becomes extremely problematic once he has that PK. Keeper really, Insane on that Keeper doing a fantastic job as well. 550 gold per minute. You almost never see a Keeper that farm. Even with the, you know, all the hero kills they ended up getting, all the tower kills they ended up getting, so a lot of props to him there. He did a lot of work in that game. So just good team effort there from NK as they take Game 1 over Twisted Fusion.